So talk to me a little bit about your sort of style and strategy for fantasy football, how you approach leagues, what's your sort of ethos in terms of how you construct your teams and what you kind of look for to get an edge over people in a fantasy league.
I think for me, it changes a little bit every year. And obviously, we're going to be talking a lot on this show about lessons from 2024. And it's important to look at what went right, what went wrong. But at the
Mm.
same time, I can't remember what show it was I've heard on over recent years, but someone who said, do not draft last year's best team. That was last year's best team. But you can still learn some of those bits. So I think I was very much, I think in my draft days was very much a hero RB truther. I always wanted as many great RBs as I could because why not? Why would you not? Last year, as I kind of moved away from that. I think something that's become a learning curve for me over the last few years with doing more leagues is learn how to modify your strategy depending on the roster, depending on the type of league you are in. For example, on the whole, I'll always say, ignore bye weeks, deal with that when it comes. You don't need to win every week. If you're decimated one week, as long as it's not the playoffs, you can ride that. Drafting a guillotine league this week, I need to look at the bye weeks. So, yeah, it's very much deciding what is important in each of those different things. And I'll be completely honest, I think I've learned the most from making mistakes. Same with very different avenues of life. That didn't work. That went horribly wrong for me. I think the one thing that I do try to, I don't know if try to keep what just happens, is I like drafting players I like as well. Fantasy football is a little side story to watching the NFL on a Sunday for most of us. And I want to cheer on the players I want to cheer on. I don't want to be watching certain players and going, oh, they've scored but this helped my fantasy team. So yeah, very different things. But I'd say my strategy is fairly fluid depending on what I'm doing. But drafting players I want to cheer for and enjoying the process, I think, is at the core of what I like to do for drafts.
Yeah, I love that.